Hello, so it's been quite a while since the last Alio devlog, and I've mainly been working on other small projects and game jams. However, last week I decided to get back to work on the project, and I started with some new graphics and mechanics. So it's the first day of development and I'm just about to make something of a design plan for the first level before I start making it in Unity. I need to do some concept art for what I want it to look like and work on how some of the puzzle elements are going to work, so yeah, I'm going to get to that. So I've just been working on concepting some of the main mechanics and also some of the areas in the game, including the first area with some enemies. So if you're interested in reading some of the lore, then there's this if you want, but I'm going to get right into implementing some of this in Unity. So here is the project. I literally just created it, it's completely blank. So I'm going to get started adding in the basic player controller and game mechanics. The basic platforming is now in the game. There's a dynamic jump height depending on how long you hold the spacebar in for. It's using a tutorial from Unity that puts in custom physics, so I think it feels pretty nice. So I'm going to get to work on the actual main mechanic. Hello, so I've been working on the main mechanic for a little bit and the basics of it are now in. If you shoot, then it waits 1 second and then returns the bullet to you. But if you just shoot directly at the floor, then you can shoot it for as long as you like. So basically it gets returned if you shoot it in the air after 1 second, or if you hit something, it instantly gets returned to the player. And I'm going to work on some animations to make that a bit more clear, but I think this works pretty well. So I've just been coding for a little bit longer, and as you can see I got a very quick sketch of an enemy in. It's not the final by any means, but now when you hit it, it plays some effects and you get hit up in the air. So it basically gives you a double jump. So if I was to jump and then hit it, then you double jump. So yeah. So I've been messing around with the main mechanic for a little bit now. As you can see, I did this very temporary drawing here. So whenever you click, an arrow shoots out, and then once it reaches a certain distance, it comes back to you. And this also works if you hit something, it will stop and then return to the player. And this on its own is basically just reloading but with extra steps. But when you put it in tandem with the jumping effect I had earlier, I think it works fairly well as a mechanic. So you can see you can use it to do a Mario style jump off enemies but from a lot further away, and then the arrow will return to you. And you can chain these sort of jumps together to like climb up and do platforming challenges such as these. And I think I'll need to tweak the values a bit, but I think it definitely feels quite a lot of fun to play around with. I've been sitting and playing with it for a while, and yeah. Okay, so I just threw together a really quick sketch of what the first room in the game is going to look like. So as you can see, it's set inside this village that's carved into the side of trees, and then it expands out into these sort of pods. So that's going to be the first sort of mini area in the game, which is where the introduction and tutorial is going to happen. And I ported it over into Unity, as you can see here. Obviously no real collisions yet, but with no parallax as well, it looks really weird, but you can start to get an idea of what the game is going to look like. So yeah. So this is just a quick time lapse showing me drawing a bush, which was eventually unused, but I thought I would keep it in just to show how I figured out what the style of the game was going to be. After this, I polished up all of the assets and started drawing the final art, so you'll see that in a second. I just started testing out the parallax in game, and then I realised I had to draw a lot of extra bushes and things in the background to make sure they extended off the screen. So this is me doing that here. Just quickly, I should probably mention the story, and it's going to be that this beginning village is attacked by some kind of demon, and then at the beginning of the game you have to fight it off, and then you're sent to the north to try and find where the demons are coming from and stop them from attacking your village. I hope that should give the game something of a storyline arc, but I still have to flesh it out a lot more before it's finished. Hello, so I think I'm now fairly happy with the level of actual art that's been done. So I'm just going to spend a little while going through and adding lighting, some effects, all that kind of stuff to try and dress it a bit and make it look a bit more finalized. So yeah, I'll see you once I've finished doing that. Hello, so I'm not entirely finished cleaning up yet, but I've added some simple fog and a few lights just using sprites, and I think this looks fairly good. It's a lot closer to finished than it was. I've still got some details I'd like to add, but I think it's definitely some good progress for the first devlog, and it gives me a good idea of what I actually want the art style of the game to be, so I'm quite happy with it so far. Next devlog, I'm probably going to focus on more code heavy stuff since this was mostly art. I will polish up this main mechanic to actually feel a bit better, and I will actually do some level design for the first level and maybe make a couple more of these rooms if I have the time. So I hope you enjoyed that devlog, and if you want to see the next one in a few days, then make sure to subscribe. So yeah, thanks for watching.